From chronic pain and emotional shutdown to deep connection, community leadership, and personal healing. This episode is a masterclass in courage, growth, and what happens when you finally have a tool that works, not just for your marriage, but for your life. Today, we're joined by two of our very own certified coaches, Tanya and James, a couple in a remote town in British Columbia, whose lives, marriage, and even physical health transformed after discovering the connection codes. And now, they're helping others do the same. If you've ever wondered what it looks like to bring this work into your own home, your church, your classroom, your business, this conversation is your invitation. You can learn more about Tanya and James and our other certified coaches at connectioncodes.co/coaches or through the link in the show notes. Let's dive in.
All right. Oh my goodness, this is such exciting times for us when we get to sit with friends that we've actually met in person in Canada. And so welcome, Tanya and James. And you guys are from like a little island, which is part of British Columbia. And is it actually called British Columbia Island?
We're on the mainland of British Columbia, but we're isolated on the mainland. So you can only get in by ferry. So from Vancouver, we're about 90 miles north, but it's 2 ferries. So it's a 6-hour trip, or you can fly in, or you can catch a ferry from Vancouver Island and come over to our community. So we're a small, isolated community of about 20,000 people, located on the Sunshine Coast, which is a beautiful part of the world.
Yeah.
Wow. We must come and visit you. That just sounds dreamy.
I love that.
That's part of our big, audacious plan.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we would just love for our audience to hear a little bit about your journey, how you found the connection codes, and just where that has led you to where you are today. But also tell us just a little bit about you, like how long you guys have been together and what that even looks like in this remote place.
Yeah, we met in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada's capital, back in 1986, so 39 years ago. We met through speed skating. We were only 20. But yeah, we've been married coming up 35 years summer. I'm very excited about that. We have 2 adult kids, a son and a daughter, 29, 27. And our son's getting married this fall, and we love doing life with them. We're part of a vibrant church community that's growing, and we love being together. And
and our connection code journey started pretty much about a year ago this month sometime. I have about 3 nights a year where I just can't sleep. So I get up and I go downstairs and I listen to podcasts. And I went on to Iris Ministries with Will Hart, and he was interviewing this couple that I thought, wow, this looks interesting. And the couple happened to be you guys talking about connection codes and all that stuff. And I thought, wow, this sounds great. So 12:30 at night, I ordered the book online, and I'm a book junkie. So I was stepping into dangerous ground because I have a quota every year. And by May, my quota's done, but I just did it. I read the book, and there's some parts in there on trauma that Ton was especially walking through. I said, you got to read this. So she read part of it, and then she wouldn't give me my book back because I like to read books about at least 3 times to really get the content solidified. So I had to order a second book, but it didn't come out of my quota because she had my book. Read it again, and we started going through it together. And then so we ordered 4 more and started a small group study with my son and his fiance and a couple of their friends. And we met monthly over a meal to talk about each chapter. We thought, man, we're going to buy the foundations course. So we did that. And then we were talking with Tira because we thought, how the heck are we going to get this out to our community? Because it's so good. But it's so challenging. Like you say, it's simple, but it's not easy. Like the first time we did the wheel, I'm like, I understand joy and anger, but what the frick are these other 6 emotions? I had no clue. I was just clueless. But as we walked it out, I became more and more aware of what's going on. It's like, man, it's so good. It was just stirred up stuff inside of me that I didn't even know was there, and I didn't even have the language for. We hooked up with the Coops through Tira, talked with them, and they're amazing. And we were having a conversation with them about how to launch at our church with connection codes and how to do it and do it well. And then she said, we got Glen and Phyllis coming to Fort St. John. And so that night we booked our flights and the whole deal. And that was in probably September?
Yeah.
And we met you guys in November, a long weekend. And it was just,
wow.
It was amazing. It was very cool. And then we've got to experience the fire hose thing of weekend intensive. And we left there going, man, there's no topics that are off the table from now on after walking through an intensive with you guys and doing the late night at the restaurant. It was just so powerful that it transformed us. And then from there, we started talking about, man, how do we get this into our church and do it well? And we thought, all right, let's take the next step. And we signed up for coaching. And yeah.
In our professions, we feel that best practice is really important. So we thought, well, if we're going to bring this, we want to feel qualified and just not come from a place of feeling disqualified. So in bringing this to our church leadership team, and we had some fear in that too. And we started encouraging them to read the book and listening to podcasts. It's just kind of grown really rapidly. And I can honestly say our kids are becoming connection coders, and they have seen quite a dramatic transformation in their parents. Definitely, I can say I'm not walking on eggshells anymore. We've always been very united since the day we got married. But yeah, definitely a difference in how we can connect and what we can now share without fear.
Now, you left out a pertinent detail. Who's the better speed skater? I was just trying to figure out who was chasing who on the, what's that called, ice skating rink?
Hey, when it comes to tights, I was second.
He was skating behind me.
Yeah, for sure.
I hear you.
Wow, love
Just
that.
felt like that mattered. Yeah.
So, I know that you guys have been super transparent with just your story, and love for our audience just to kind of get a glimpse of what just even over the last year, like what has been the hardest parts, what has been, because usually we have to work through the hardest parts to get to the best parts. And we have to really look, especially when you've been together a long time. And there's definitely times where I know y'all faced some pretty big things, and then now you're seeing that. And just for our audience, when you guys mentioned coaching, that was the next step, what you're talking about is the coaching certification program. You guys decided to become coaches, and that was after we met, I believe, right? In November? Was it after that? Yeah. Which just took it to another level, because that is an 8-week group intensive that happens through Zoom. And, you're together twice a week with a group that you get really close to, and you learn how to teach this material. You learn how to bring it to others, which is really kind of what you guys have done. Because I know, James, you're still a teacher, like you're in the classroom, and we've heard so many stories about how you've used it with your students. And then Tanya, I think, right, you're kind of newly retired, but still have a heart for the community and for all the people in your life to really speak into and pour into them. And that's kind of what led y'all into, we need to do this coaching program so we can learn how to do this better with our community, which is just such a cool thing. But for our audience, can you share just a little bit about your own personal things that have been the most transformative in the past year?
For sure. Yeah, I stepped away from a leadership job in public health. I'm a registered nurse 2.5 years ago, and I've been suffering from chronic pain for probably at least a decade. We were just talking this morning about like 2 years ago, I thought, I have no hope of actually holding future grandchildren. I couldn't even lift a coffee cup to my mouth without pain in my arms. So stepping away, and doing some recovery and counseling, I wasn't seeing a lot of progress, but it was when we started connection codes and we started processing the emotion that I started noticing, wow, there's a change here. In doing the coaching certification course, one of the books that we read to learn about the wisdom of our body, wow, that just blew my mind as far as how much stuffed emotion was causing pain in my body. And I know last summer we definitely had, at least for me, I had some dams burst and just got it all out and in the safety that we have. And that was probably the biggest shift for me. So, yeah.
Yeah. And for me, last summer, just learning the language, I was really actually quite adverse to using the words associated with the emotions.
Wow.
Because it was just, I'm pretty creative and I build a lot of curriculum and I do a lot of things like that. And I like to march to my own drum. I don't like coming into step with somebody else's drum. And so it wasn't until the coaching course that I thought, Matt, the language is bang on. And I got to get on board with this because in reaching the kids I work with, but for me personally as well, I discovered that I've been stunt-doubling my whole life. And all of my relationships identify with what Phyllis said a couple podcasts ago. Like everything was super shallow in my life. It was all about logistics and all about getting stuff done. I grew up as an employee and have not even really felt like a son in anything. I'm a super hard worker and I can just go. But I started getting to a place where I've been living in chronic pain for about 9 years now. And as I've been walking this out, I'm getting to a place where I can't work any harder because it's killing me. And as we started to process our emotions and what was happening for us, and even me just discovering that, I thought I was living in shame all my life. Actually, I was living in lonely because I didn't even know what it meant. How does a fish know he's swimming in water? Because that's what out of the book and one of your examples in the podcast. It's like, that's where I was. I was living in lonely all my life. And then learning how to just step out and trust and be risky about just showing who I was. And that really solidified for me in the coaching course. Man, I had some dams breakthrough. That was just so good. Like I'm not even the same person anymore. And I'm becoming ruthless with who I have in my life as far as people that are just a waste of my time because they're shallow and I don't want to be in that shallow end of the pool anymore. We have a family tradition when we go up the coast north of Powell River, there's a spot off a place called Sarah Point. And as soon as we hit 1,000 feet of water, we stop the boat, everybody jumps off and we swim around the boat because it's like a symbol of freedom. Like if there's 1,000 feet of water and we're not going to hit the bottom and nothing's going to get us, maybe. It's so fun. Yeah. So this was like jumping off the boat in 1,000 feet of water. We don't know what's down there, but we're okay with it. Yeah.
I love it. So now in the coaching cohort like these, you were able to do this with these people because they were your lifelong friends?
Yeah. They became my lifelong friends.
Isn't that weird? That's what's so wild to me. It's like, wait. I'm sorry. You met these people like literally sometimes minutes, an hour, 6 hours ago. That's one of several things we've heard about the coaching cohorts is like, wait, what? I just met these people. And I am just pouring myself out, showing all of Glen, the authentic, vulnerable self. And, our culture says, oh, well, you do that once you know somebody for whatever, 5, 10, 15, 20 years. As we've experienced, as you've experienced, it's not true. You can know somebody for 20 years and not have any connection of depth with them. And you can know somebody for 3 minutes and actually connect deeply with them.
And this is on Zoom. This isn't even in person. I was so skeptical, like Zoom, a coaching course. I'm like, I don't know. Like the book is great and the podcasts are awesome, but I don't know about this Zoom thing. Holy frick, I was captivated by the end of the first week. It was so good. Yeah.
Bizarre. You've lived some life, you've got some experiences, you're learned, you've experienced things, read things. You read this book, this random little, it's a fairly small paperback book. What struck you? What said, oh, wait a minute? Because you've read a lot of, I mean, how many books have you read in your life? You have no idea. Yeah, yeah. What got your attention with this one where you're just kind of hooked and you're like, oh, okay, we got to tune in here? What was it?
Right from the get-go, follow the energy. That changed everything, not only with conversations with my wife, but my kids. And then in my classroom, it's changed everything. Just that one thing, follow the energy. I've got kids now journaling the wheel almost every day. I pull it out and it's like, hey, let's do this. And I've got kids that would sit for a whole day and do nothing because of what's going on in their life. I do the wheel with them, and in 15 minutes, like, oh, I think I'm ready to do some math. Are you kidding me? This is awesome. Yeah. And the same thing has happened for me. I have way more energy because we sit and do the wheel every morning over a cup of coffee, second cup of coffee. We've been sitting having coffee in bed for 25 years. It's part of what we do just to connect in the morning, but it was always about logistics. Now we're connecting on a completely different level, and it's changing everything, even how we are able to connect with other people.
Also follow the energy and learning the power of the ooh. And even with my kids, because years ago, I would be like Phyllis had said recently, I would be the one who would want to try and fix things and you'll be okay. And now the shift in how I connect with my kids, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. So, James, back to you, especially for our listeners, you're a teacher, and give us a little bit of context, because immediately I think, are you working with first graders, second graders, or who are you working with that are taking to the wheel so easily?
I'm working at the high school. So I'm working with grade 10, 11, 12 kids. I run, it's basically an alternate school within the school. I have a lot of kids that, well, all my kids, they don't fit in the regular classroom. They're the ones I work with, and I work with kids that are in our trade programs. I do all the academics with them, their English and math. With our trade kids, we're doing auto, carpentry, things like that, hairdressing. And I've also started a book study at school with some of the teachers and at the school. So we've been used the last couple of Pro D days to actually watch some of the training videos and talk about the book. And I've got a couple of my colleagues that every Friday before we go home for the weekend, we do the wheel. And sometimes we're doing it during the week as well. And we even got a code set up where if somebody says or texts you, I need 4 minutes, it means, okay, you got to drop everything. I need to talk to you right now. And this is also with people who aren't even aware of connection codes, but they're picking up on what the difference is and what the change is. And it's funny, we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago because I heard through somebody, they were saying, well, this is just behavior modification. And I said, you know what? The world has modified your behavior. Connection codes is the return to original programming. It's just powerful, really powerful, because it's that heart connection that's happening.
Say that again. That's worth keeping. Say that last part
What
again.
the world has done.
Yeah.
Yeah, the world has reprogrammed us into what it wants. And it's to stuff your feelings and all that. But the connection codes is actually returning us to original programming. Yeah, it's not behavior modification. We've been modified. Now we're returning to what our creator has designed us to be. Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's incredible to me. And especially for our listeners, I know many teachers are always looking for help in their classroom. And I think that to hear your story like that, and I knew you were working with high schoolers, I just wanted you to say it and kind of give that context for our listeners, because that's so amazing that I would say most of the time, by the time you get to high school, you've been pretty affected by life already in a big way.
You've been modified.
Yeah, you've been modified.
Quoting James.
Right. Yeah. And to think that you just started using it. Like, I love that. I love that you just saw it as a powerful way to really help your students, and that you saw the change. Like, you saw them that they were able to then get to the math, get to the English, get to the things that had to be done because they were so dysregulated by the time they got to school because of what's happening in their life, whether it's at home or at school itself or on the ride to school. So it's so incredible as a teacher to go, you know what, I'm just going to start using this one thing for our listeners to realize no matter where you are, it can be with your family, it can be with your neighbor, it can be at work, whatever your job is. Like, and to think, oh, you mean I could use this in a classroom? Absolutely. And then I love that you also went beyond that and you're like, hey, I'm going to also present this to other teachers and to other staff members and figure out ways to do that, you know, have a book club and whatever it takes. And so I think that it is, and I'm sure along the way, that has changed a lot for you too, James, because when you're using it in every day and you see the results, it just affirms, wow, this is really powerful. This is real stuff. And it's getting us back to our original, right? Our original, almost like the innocence. What we love so much about babies is that they giggle and they smile and they cry and they are cuddly and they're squishy. And it's all that original that we lose along the way because we are programmed by the world, that behavior modification that the world does on us. And so I just love that. And I just want to encourage our listeners to have that same kind of mindset of, wow, I use this with myself. And if you're in a family setting with your family, but sometimes you get a pretty resistance there at times, right? And to not give up there, but to go, wait, this would make a difference at work or, you know, in a classroom or with a neighbor, and to see that. And that is incredible. I've loved your stories over the months of just hearing what this has done in your classroom. Tanya, you kind of referenced, or when James first introduced you to the book and said, you got to read this, that it was specific things in your life that he was like, whoa, this could really make a difference. This kind of connects to your own story in some way. And he saw that when he read the book is why he gave it to you. Can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I know there was trauma that came from when I was young, and even things I probably didn't remember or recognize. And being faith-based, I think Holy Spirit has revealed some of these things to me that now I've been able to go, oh, okay. And I have the language to now say that's what was happening for me, as well as trauma from working in public health through COVID. And I don't think I realized how hard that was till I stepped away and what kind of damage it had done to my body. So being able to process that emotion, I think one of the biggest shifts for us is my husband here has been an amazing listener for our entire marriage. And when there's pain, say related to my job, I would unload that almost daily and he would faithfully listen. And then there would be times of let it go, just let it go, get over it. We've learned that kind of reactivates the pain. So that doesn't happen anymore. Now that since we've done connection codes, he's an amazing ooer, and the safety for me to get that out of my body and slowly regain physical capabilities of what I can do now is nothing short of miraculous, actually. So,
have you ever listened to this podcast and thought, I want to bring this into my marriage, my workplace, my church, maybe even my career? Well, now is your chance. We're officially launching our first ever summer cohort of Connection Codes certified coaching. It's a powerful 8-week training where you'll learn to guide others using our proven emotional framework. You'll walk away with real tools, confidence, and a community that feels like home. This is for therapists, pastors, leaders, coaches, or anyone ready to make an impact and experience their own transformation along the way. So if you're ready to stop sitting on the sidelines and start leading with purpose, go to connectioncodes.co/certified-coach. Join the waitlist or sign up today. Spots are limited, and this is your sign. Let's do it together.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, something I do in session with individuals or couples, but I'll have them make a fist and just squeeze it as tight as they can. And then I'll say, hold it like that the rest of this session. Well, of course, they can't. I mean, you just don't have that capability. You can do it for a few minutes, maybe, but your muscle just gets exhausted. Well, that's what's happening for so many of us. We're not just the rest of the session, the rest of this day, the rest of this week, the rest of this month, the rest of this year. Well, what's that going to do to your body? Well, I don't know. Everybody's unique, but it's going to have an effect. You can't avoid that. And of course, the four of us certainly have all experienced that, where we're like, oh, when I'm able to process and this stuff gets, dissipates through me, I'm actually able to sleep better, and my body is able to recover. 94% of the healing of the body occurs when we're asleep. Well, we're supposed to be asleep complete. If we had you hooked up to a brain scan, it almost looked like you were dead because there's so little activity, certainly in the limbic system. That's what it's supposed to be. But for so many of us, we fall asleep. The limbic system's just jam-packed. It's a fireworks display. And we wake up in the morning and we're like, oh, I'm more tired than when I went to bed. Well, that's because you didn't rest at all, because the psyche was not at rest. I did want to highlight one other thing, James, you talking about, because culturally we basically say, oh, well, you know how teenagers are. I mean, they just shut down, they pull away. And I grew up being told that both whenever I was a young and a teenager, and then as a young parent, that, oh, well, once they're teenagers, they're not going to want to be with you. They're not going to want to be seen in public with you. And I'm convinced the reason that is, and again, every human's unique, but the vast majority of the time is because we have resisted their energy for 10 years. And we've told them, you're fine, you're okay. Well, they eventually just stop coming to us because we have been telling them that they're fine when they're not fine. When they were 7 years old and they were crying, they were not fine. That's the reason they were crying, because they weren't fine. And we say, oh, you're fine. Just calm down, settle down, stop your crying. And eventually they go, okay, dad's not safe to turn to. Mom's not safe to turn to. I just won't turn to them anymore. And that's it with families all the time, where the parents are like, we raised them better than that. Well, sort of. I'm not questioning your moral standing. But as far as the practice, the relationship or lack of relationship, that is not what they experience. And so then by the time they're 12, 13, 14, they don't even tune in to themselves much, but certainly don't share it with mom and dad. So I love that you're doing that, James. That's amazing.
It's interesting. Glen was sharing on the ride into the studio this morning just how he has felt disregarded most of his life. And I said, whose face do you see in that? And he said, my parents, your parents. And then he mentioned he went to a private school, and he started talking about that private school. He said, I'm sure some of the teachers were kind, but they just didn't know what to do with me. And I was different. I was weird. I wouldn't call them by their last name. Like, I would call them by their first name. So I get kicked out of class almost every day by a teacher because I was calling them by their first name.
Which I'm not saying was the right thing to do on my part.
No,
just for the record.
No, I can't imagine having a student like Glen in the classroom. But I think about that with you, James, that if every teacher that he ever had known the core motion wheel and could have taught this kid the core motion wheel, because he was so dysregulated every day of his life because of childhood trauma that was never addressed. His dad died when he was 8 suddenly, and then he lost his mom right after that because she went to work, got 3 jobs to support the family. So for an 8-year-old, that is beyond belief, But there was no one that ever tuned in and tried to find out what was happening for him. And so he learned to kind of create his own world, he has shared this before on the podcast. Like, he thought, if I'm funny enough, then people will laugh so they won't beat me up. Like, it was like he became the comedian. He just didn't have guidance for whatever reason, right? He would call teachers by their first name. Like, somehow that made sense to him, as in, it's worth the punishment. It's worth being thrown out of class. But I think, wow, if those teachers had the ability to go, so what's happening for you? And have taught him the wheel, he could have found himself at such a young age where he was halfway through his life before 50, before he started to unravel so much of that. of what was happening for him throughout his life. And we've talked about the wheel so many times. And for some of our listeners, this may be their first time listening. So we would love it if you guys would do the wheel. So you'll be doing it with each other. We just get to listen in and witness. And I thought this would be a great time to do that if y'all could.
Yeah,
we'd love to.
We didn't do the wheel this morning over coffee because we knew we would be doing it with this. So we thought we don't want to blow it and have nothing to say. Oh man. Well, I can start. Yeah. Okay. For me, joy, we get to do this morning. Yeah. We haven't seen you guys for a long time.
Wow.
Like face to face on camera. So yeah, you're part of our family, and it's like, so joy, we get to do this and hang out. Sad, I've been reading a book, The Artist's Way. I'm sure that you've seen that book, Phyllis. So I've been doing those morning pages, and I read this yesterday. This week is on possibility. And so there's some sad for me in that possibility because I strongly resemble that chapter where I've actually sabotaged myself, my hopes and my dreams and the stuff I enjoy to serve other people, and have expended my energy there. Some hurts. I was rebuilding the greenhouse with my daughter on the weekend, and there's some family hurt in that. Not with my daughter. There was a lot of joy there, but in serving to do that and the time it took, and some of the emotional history that goes along with that. Lonely. My classroom is a lonely place for me because I'm the only one who does what I do in the school. And I work different hours because I also work 2 after-school programs, one out on our local nation at a school called Cow, and then also at the high school as well. So I come and go at different hours, so my connection with my colleagues is, so that's lonely. Fear. I still have fear in rolling this out, where tonight is session 4 of the foundations course. We have a cohort of 32 that we're working with right now. And I have fear that I'm not going to represent this well, for example, I have some guilt that I got to leave tonight for 2 nights because I'm driving a busload of 25 kids to a track and field event on Vancouver Island. There's some shame around that because I feel unprepared. So I've got to make a bunch of phone calls today. And anger, I found out last night that one of the teachers that traditionally has been part of track and field has really caused some problems. So now I may have to power out and have a confrontation if he actually indeed shows up at this event, because there's some kids have been really harmed by his behavior. Yeah.
I think that was all of them, eh?
Yeah.
Thank you. Wow. I've got some lonely firing for you being away for the next couple of nights. I understand the need, so honor that. Joy that we're doing this together, joy that we're so connected, and that we're coming up halfway through foundations. I have core level anger for the families in our small community, even in our church, that have some struggling. They're committed to power through, but there's so much pain. And I just have so much. I don't think I've ever felt so passionate about this. And some anger with that. Guilt for where I haven't been as prepared for things that we're doing together, and shame when I've missed it with you or with the kids. Still some fear for what's ahead with as we roll this out, and sad when I see that you have the hurt from what your childhood experiences have caused. But that we're just together on that. And I think I did all of them.
Did I miss hurt?
I can't remember if you missed hurt.
Did I miss hurt?
No, for me, hurt. Did I miss hurt? Yeah. Wow. Think of a big time. Yeah. My body. Yeah. Just thinking of the pain in my body and how I need to do a better job of taking care of my health so I can be there for you, for our kids, and what's ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing. Oh, my word.
I
You
love
know,
that.
Well, we always say there's no prototype, but the two of you are just such a beautiful example on every level. I mean, just discovering this, tuning in, sharing it with each other, implementing it, then you just keep taking it to the next level. And, your Connection Code's web is ever expanding. And over the years, 10 years, 20 years now, there'll be so many thousands, tens of thousands of people that will trace back to, oh, well, we heard from somebody who heard from somebody who heard from somebody that some couple on some remote, we don't even know where the heck they live, but like they live in the wilderness or something. And it's just such a beautiful, shining example. People hear our voice, but at some point it just becomes white noise in the background. And so I just really, really appreciate the two of you, just what you do, but also coming on here just to let people know, hey, just do what's in front of you. And the power, the effectiveness, certainly in your, community, but you're sharing with people that live elsewhere that are, who knows what, somewhere in the middle of Australia are going to make such a difference. So it's just so beautiful. I'm just inspired by it. I love it.
Okay, so Tanya, I have to speak into one thing you said on your wheel. Feel a little fear, but I'm going to do it. I want you to be healthy for you. You deserve that.
Well,
and you deserve a body that fulfills the dreams that you have for the rest of your life. And I know that for me, I've been on a similar journey. I had kind of decided I'm in the pain management part of life. And then Echo, our oldest, really challenged me this year when we were on our road trip in January to not settle, but to actually get to that place where then I can hike and go hiking with her. And I came back super motivated, and we made a lot of changes last year. I finally got to that place, as we've shared on the podcast, where I was like, I can't do that life anymore. I have to make major changes. And because I saw that through, which once I saw it through, I crashed, right? And it took months to have any capacity at all. But once I got a little bit of capacity and I saw the kind of the light again, I want this for me. I want to get my health back, and I want to really fulfill dreams. Like, one of my dreams is to dance, to take classes, to get really good, whatever that even looks like. But that's for me. That is a dream. I want to hike for me. And yes, my kids would love that as well, but it's for me. And I think it's shifted. I am motivated every day to do the thing. So I'm on a rigorous program right now to do this, but it's because it's for me. It's the way I want to live the rest of my life. And, I just want to empower you to realize you're worth it. You deserve to fulfill all the dreams just for you. Will James benefit? Sure. Will your kids benefit? Sure. One day your grandkids? Sure.
Yeah.
But really, it's for you. It's so that you can grab a hold of dreams. If you have dreams of whatever, I know you were mentioning your arms, your hands, that you were even struggling picking up a coffee cup, right? And so you go, okay, what do I really want to do with my hands? And part of it for me, my pain has been in my legs. You can't dance when your legs are in pain all the time. You're just wanting to walk, just every day, walk from the kitchen to the living room without pain, right? But once I held on to the dream, I saw the dream of, actually, I want to dance. That's another level. I don't want to say no to that. And so for you to kind of have the dream, well, what do I really want to do with my hands? What do I want to do with these arms? What do I want to do with this body when it gets healthy? And to really see that dream for yourself and to go after that, I think is just so important, just to see that for yourself. And I mean, James, that's for you too. You mentioned that in doing the artist way, that you're kind of seeing, wow, I've poured so much into others that I haven't necessarily pursued things that I really want to do? And to realize that's not necessary, as in you deserve to pursue the dreams that you have, and you may be able to pull people along with you in the future with those dreams. It's not that you necessarily have to become totally isolated in those things, but sometimes those are like, I want to, if your dream is to be a hunter by yourself in the woods and have 24 hours to do that, then go for that. Like, see that dream come true and give yourself that. And the energy that comes from that is just incredible. And I think we often have a lot of excuses. Like, if you want to be a writer, find a way to write. And it's your dream. Like, no excuses, as in you create that life that makes that happen. It's for you to do. And it's no one else. Like, if I want to dance, it's not up to anybody else. It's up to me to make that happen.
There's one more thing I would love for us to share about how powerful connection codes have been. And I think probably for 25 years, anytime there's been some type of a marriage course, marriage conference, marriage books, we've done them all, and we've got some benefit from all of them. But then what was your assessment of connection codes?
This is the first time that you take away tools that are good for life.
Yeah.
All these marriage courses, and some of them have been great. Like, we've done some pretty amazing marriage courses. It's a great weekend, but it doesn't transform you for the rest of the month, the rest of the year, and it slides away. But this gives you tools to move on and go deeper and have those hard conversations, whereas these other ones they're just one-offs. And what this has done for us, even in our marriage, this is the first time that we're actually ministering together, doing something by leading foundations, and then the other things that we're going to be doing with this. Tom's had her ministries in music and that sort of stuff, and I've had mine, and we serve at youth, but we're separate. Everything we've done has been separate. We haven't been doing it together. We've been at the same location geographically, but we haven't been there relationally together and emotionally together. And so this is the first time that we're doing this together, which is so good. And she's become a powerhouse in this. Like, I'm used to being the one, okay, we're going to do this and we're going to step into this, but not anymore. Like, she's found her lane. It's like, man, we're on it. It's so good. I get to draft again, like speed skating. It's like, oh, get flashbacks of those tights.
So, and of course, you've heard us present this, and our listeners have, but the Connection Codes undergirds everything because it's the human condition. I want you to learn your Enneagram number. Absolutely. Have at it. I want you to do your personality profile, your love language, strength finders. Great. Learn all that you can. But what we've missed is that we're decorating the house better and better, and we're getting really cool dishwashers, and we're furniture, and we're adding all these things. Yeah, but the house itself is structurally unstable. We have to build the structure or with the car, it's like, well, the car doesn't run, but I got a cool stereo in it. I mean, this stereo is amazing, plays music. Well, yeah, but the car doesn't run. It has 4 flat tires. So we have to get the structure solid first. Then we can add all these other cool things. And that's so much of what happens, certainly what we experienced with marriage conferences and stuff. It's like, add this cool component. Yeah, it's great. I'm not taking away from that at all. But we were structurally so unstable that it was just cool looking decoration, and the Titanic was sinking, but our furniture on the deck was really, really nice. It's like, well, yeah, but the ship's sinking. We got to do something about that. So, all right, we got to wrap up here. Thank you. So much joy. It's amazing. And our dream is that we're friends for life. We're partners for life in this quest, because it is so beautiful, so powerful. We're just thrilled that you would be a part of it. So we do all of this because you need this.
You deserve this.
So let's
do this.
Huge thanks to Tanya and James for joining us today and sharing their story and their journey with us. They are living proof that you don't need to be perfect to lead others. You just need the right tools and the courage to begin. As certified coaches, they're not only transforming their own lives, but they're equipping others to do the same. You can connect with them and explore our full directory of certified coaches at connectioncodes.co/coaches. And the link is also in the show notes. And if this conversation stirred up something in you If you're dreaming of helping others feel seen, heard, and connected, this is your moment. We're about to kick off our very first summer cohort of certified coaching. You'll learn how to use the Connection Codes framework to change lives and experience a transformation of your own. Whether you're a therapist, HR director, teacher, church leader, or someone who just knows that this work is meant for you, you belong here. Head to connectioncodes.co/certified coach to sign up today, or look in the show notes. You deserve this, so let's do it together.